Woke up with fingers crossed in a boy's bed with your pants off. After polite declines of coffee and toast, walked home itching in last night's clothes. Past the phone booth and the beauty bar, the broken windows of your neighbor's cars. Through the back door to a message from sis, asking who was your New Year's kiss. Took the afternoon to piece it all, plus a half a dozen phone calls. Crashed a party with Larissa and Chris in pursuit of a New Year's kiss. Not the way that you'd imagined it, on a balcony with champagne lips, but in a pantry against the pancake mix. You had your New Year's kiss.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome to the last day of 2024. Some of you are probably glad to be rid of it. It doesn't matter to me. The years just blend one into the other, you know? But I'm not really big on recognitions, dates, holidays, you know, memorials. It's a curse. It's not a good thing. I'll probably regret it when I get older, but no, for me, it's just another day. Just another day. In fact, that's what I want to hear. Just another day on Earth. All right. One more. Yeah. Yeah. Let me get a good one lined up here. This looks okay. Okay.
Oh, it's just another day. It's just another day on earth. Oh, it's just another day. Just another day. It's just another day on earth. It's just another day on earth. One day we will put it all behind. We'll say that was just another time. We'll say that was just another day on earth. We'll say that was just another time. One day we will put it all behind. We'll say that was just another day on earth. Just another day. It's just another day. Oh, it's just another day on earth. It's just another day on earth.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Eno. Thank you. That was very, very somber. All right. And speaking of somber, here's Sam Hyde. You know, who can occasionally be funny, but most of the time is actually funny. I mean, I love Sam for what he represents, for his attitude, his bravery, but, you know, he's not always funny. Ha ha, funny. In fact, he always seems to be just kind of winging it, like me. That's why I like him.
Glad I caught you.
But here he is. His open letter to Elon Musk that we're not supposed to be watching.
Glad I got you there. Elon Musk. By the way, please don't watch this if you're not Elon Musk, okay? This is a one-off video that we're doing. This is private.
We're going to play it,
personal.
but we're
I
not going
put
to watch
this in
it.
his email. I don't know how you got this, unless you're on the Asmongold Discord server, in which case you know my every move, okay? Me and Asmongold.
So we're not going to watch it. We're going to have it playing, but I'm not
this for a
listening.
while
I'm looking
now.
at the screen, but I'm not
Moist
looking
Critical's
at
involved.
you. I'm kind of
And,
looking around.
Yeah, I guess if you're on the Moist Critical Discord server, you would have access to this file. So
Moist
kudos to
Critical,
you,
ha, ha,
hacker. I don't think Elon's going to watch this. And listen, I know as a comedian, first and foremost, I don't expect people to take me seriously, but it is a fact.
Are you a
that
comedian?
Shit posting and public opinion are now intermingled permanently, and it's not going anywhere. And that's just the way it is. I get all my news from memes, basically. That's how I get my news. Is that how you get your news? How would you even get the
Why
news
do
if
they
you weren't
keep
looking at
changing
memes?
the
You watch
camera?
a show?
It doesn't
That's
really
even
work.
more fucking retarded. We turn that off. It's a smart thermostat, so it's going to take 15 minutes to figure out how that fucking thing works. It's very intuitive. I don't know why the Nest thermostat is taking you so long to learn and intuit. Okay, a toddler could figure this out. A toddler on an iPad could figure out how to use the Nest.
If he was an Indian toddler, but that's probably a grown American you're speaking to, so you're going to have to give him some time.
Thermostat. It's Chris Lynch, by the way. Elon. Do not hire him, okay? He's leaving this job very soon. See, he's white. He's too lazy. Chris, you're so lazy and white. Well, yeah. You guys should have studied violin harder as kids. I swear to God, Vivek would have figured this out by now. I want to
Yeah.
believe that Elon is one of the great men.
Vivek would have turned it into a business that got billions in funding and then fell apart, and he would have went home with a fortune. Yeah.
Of our
So
age,
aren't we
and that
stupid?
he has what it takes to become a 21st century
Oh,
Andrew
dude,
Carnegie.
no,
It's
that's.
important to have great men.
Oh, I don't know if I could keep. Oh, fuck. Did he belch? I don't know if I can keep watching. I don't know. Well, okay. Maybe you won't to do it again.
Look up to Trump, Joe Rogan. Oh, there it goes. Elon, Tucker. And it's not necessarily important that our great men are perfect, but they're symbols of what we could be. I think if Ron Paul took steroids, he would be
A
the
buff,
number one. That would be my number
young,
one guy. You agree?
buff
Yeah.
Ron Paul. Yeah, I
I'd
get
like
it.
to offer you an escape, an exit from this hole you've been digging. You are a beloved figure. Anytime you do anything remotely based, people lose it. Oh my God, he's based! Yo! He just said.
I'm getting a little sick of it myself, right? And like he's cringe. He doesn't know how to act. I don't know if we want him on our side, really. Honestly. I mean, his money is useful, you know, but his personality isn't really useful. I mean, that weird, stupid sense of humor. I mean, a lot of very brilliant people, are downright dunces, especially when it comes to the social skills, right? I mean, especially when it comes to having a personality, and you know what I mean? I mean, a lot of these guys. I mean, Musk, actually, for the incredible achievement he has, he's almost normal. I mean, he's heroically well adjusted, actually. It's a guy who's done what he's done should be so fucking autistic or socially awkward that he can't even leave, he can't even go out in public. He just can't even handle talking to you like sitting across normal people talking. There are people without half of his achievement who have that sort of curse of the brilliant that they cannot really function like normal people, and can't really relate because they're all kind of sociopaths, really. So in that sense, he's, like I said, heroically well adjusted to his freakishly outsized success. But still, he's way out there in success-wise. So, well adjusted for him is, relatively speaking, he's way the fuck out there. And he's a guy who, in fact, I look at him and I wonder what's the point of being a billionaire, and being like a real life, superhero figure, if you're going to live that life, right? You're going to date like random. You're going to date Amber Heard. She's hot and everything, but the stories about, crawling in through her window, right? You're going to date Grimes, right? I actually like her music. She's actually talented, but she's a fucking rock singer. She's fucking weird, Are you going to date her and you're going to put yourself through that insanity? I guess. But anyway, back to Sam Hyde.
And that woke liberals aren't cool.
Yeah.
He's based. What does he say?
I wish Sam would just concentrate and stay on it. He just glances on, the high points, the stuff he should be hitting, and what he should be hitting here is that Elon Musk, he's doing. It's just my latest obsession. I was talking about it regarding Israel. Now it seems to be a thing regarding Elon Musk and H-1B visas. That these guys, the tech bros, Musk, Peter Thiel, those fucking guys who are all tangled up, by the way, in the surveillance state and with the Defense Department, and they all support fucking Israel, yes, SAR, Israel, right? They're all, they're all just really keen on being anti-woke and being conspicuously anti-woke and joining you, regular obscure Joe Blow, in opposing wokeness, and can spend all fucking night in a bullshit session about wokeness, but then fucking stab you right in the back when it comes to Israel. Before, as I noted, now it's with the H-1B thing, the H-1B and with immigration. Look at Vivek and Musk and Trump. You know, they don't give a fuck about you. They look down on you if you're working class, middle class. You know, they have nothing in common with you. Like Patrick Bateman, right before he stabs the homeless guy, he says, "I'm sorry, but we have nothing in common." That's their way. And they're gonna take you in though, and you're gonna think, oh, because we're all so fucking hungry. We're just starving for somebody of importance and stature to be on our side. And that's one thing that ensured a lot of success for Trump. Here was this guy, traitor to his class of billionaires, who was completely on our side, or so you would think, right? So we're so hungry for it that these guys are taking you in one at a time, or in bunches. They're luring you in, and you're saying, yeah, we've got a champion now. And then when it gets where it gets important, because in a very real sense, the whole woke fucking debate is meaningless. I don't dismiss it because there's madness, like what's happening in schools and with the trans movement, and kids going under the knife. There's real things happening as a result of woke, murderous, fatal things happening. Nonetheless, when it comes to the grander battle, which to me is freeing ourselves of the control of Israel and the diaspora, and somehow, maybe somehow, turning back the demographic displacement of traditional white people in Europe and America. These are the fundamental things. You know what I mean? I would even accept woke bullshit if it was a white ethno-state, right? And the problem with woke is, it's real. I don't want to dismiss it. It's very real, but it also kind of doubles as an insignificant. There's like a half of it which is meaningless, just utterly meaningless, and it's all symbolic for us and the people on the other side of it. Anyway, let's see what this guy has to say.
Yeah, anytime you post an AI kitten in a MAGA hat, people lose their, he's based! He's fucking based, man. For the guy who's the free speech guy, and not only that, but the reasoning from first principles guy, the logical fallacy guy, the Reddit guy, good faith argue with everybody, whatever. All that shit. Blanket banning groypers, taking away blue checks, changing the algorithm of the site because 100 people ratioed you because there's fucking 50,000.
Yeah, so this happened, and he said, we're changing the algo to prevent, and as he described him getting ratio, he described it as a sort of coordinated attack, right? Like, he didn't want to admit he was losing the fucking argument. He didn't want to admit that he stirred up a hornet's nest. And he wanted to pretend that there was this coordinated attack. Mr. Based, right? Mr., talking about the snowflakes over on the left, talking about cancel culture. Here he is adopting it with zero awareness, adopting this, sort of I don't feel safe bullshit. Right? I'm being attacked here. I'm beginning to feel attacked here. The guy who's telling us to take a step back and fuck our own faces, right? You goes like, 0 to 100, He goes from, his smirky, stupid, smug, bullshit, glib-ass arguments about H-1Bs and dishonesty, saying, oh, it's just about the 0.01% top, which isn't really what he was talking about. He goes from that to sputtering lunatic telling everybody, telling the You know, thousands, tens of thousands, however many thousands of people are reading that tweet to go fuck themselves in the face. You know, always citing movies, always a stupid fucking movie reference too, Elon.
Posts. They're all organic, by the way. This is not some Russian bot farm. It's not some nefarious behind the scenes. Let's mess with Elon. We're gonna fuck with him. That's not what it is. It's you tapped into a critical, moist critical. You tapped into a moist critical, and we're back to moist critical. Mainline concern for the American people. And you treated it in a way that was glib and dismissive. You just became a Republican 3 months ago, and you're talking about removing a big portion of regular people, root and stem. No. People fucking love you. They will forgive you. Nobody is trying to get you to become turbo base pilled, full Pat Buchanan immigration policy. People broadly understand that you are a San Francisco, tech, California, international immigrant. Well, if you want to be a regular tech guy, that's fine. You can do that. You can be Larry Ellison. You can go play on the boat. Nobody's going to give a fuck. Realize what you're fighting for. If you're going to be the tech king, if you've courted the MAGA base, you wanted these people on your side. They're ready to be on your side, but you have to fight not for Ben Shapiro's idea of the country of America, the notion of America as this collection of ideas. That's not what it is. It's Americans. That's who you have to fight for. If you're in America, doing business in America, you want to be the man in America, you have to fight for the American people. You're not fighting for a paragraph. You're not fighting for a set of ideas, man. It's the American people who need your help. That's fundamentally why I think people are pissed off here. And it's an easy fix. Just don't call them retards. Elon, have you met Chris? He's on Asmongold. He's streaming all the time. You should check him out. He's playing these games and stuff. He's amazing what the kid does with video games. I can't believe it. People didn't suddenly have a flare-up of India hate. I've been monitoring the Indian hate websites for a while. It's actually set to my homepage. I've been checking these websites out. I watch what these people do. There were very few overt Indian haters spewing their nonsensical filth everywhere 72 hours ago. What happened? Okay, 72 hours ago, most people in the MAGA base looked at Vivek Ramaswamy with some notion of admiration, or hey, that guy says cool stuff every once in a while. Hey, you know what? I think I like that guy. Now, he's got to be deported. Sucks, man. And he's not being deported because of the color of his skin. He's being deported for the content of his character.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, that's the way it works for me too. You know, I kind of liked the guy. I knew I couldn't trust him, but I liked him well enough. And then, you know, same with Elon. Then this happened, and it's like, yeah, I'm just 180 degrees. Fuck this guy, you know? How fast can we get this asshole out of the country?
And I think that truly was a mask-off moment where we saw that Vivek Ramaswamy really is just a fucking nerd who needs to go back. I think that what you did is different. I think it's everybody spurgs out. I'm spurging out right now. I'm going to spurg out later, okay? On Chris Lynch. And also, Indians do cool stuff every once in a while. They get the chest slapping, wrestling. You guys watch that action movies. He's shooting a bullet out of the air with a gun. He's flipping over the tuk-tuk. Indian clubs, shoulder rehab, exercise, fantastic. The hate, it's irrational hate. It's just racism. It's just a nonsensical racism. The hate and racism and anti-Indian sentiment, it's there to the extent that Indians are being used to replace white people. That's it. We have to stop playing pretend. We're not talking about exceptional Indians here. And that's why this is sort of spreading like wildfire, people sharing these H-1B lists of what the jobs are. You are not in Calcutta scouting for the next Indian Einstein. You're not. We have to make it to outer space and invent new computers. Let's get to India and get the next Nikola Tesla. That's not what's happening. We're talking about people at fucking gas stations. You bring them over, you put them in a fucking gas station, and then we'll go around all the gas stations in the USA and find the next genius. Well, what if he's not in India? What if he's working at a gas station in North Carolina? He might be there. We don't know.
Yeah.
Why don't we bring everybody here and then we can look for everybody?
Then we'll sort them out. Let's get them. We got to get them in the country. It's a good idea. We got to get 1 billion of them into the country before they escape. Then we'll sort through them. It'll take some time, but we'll sort through them and we'll find the next Tesla / Einstein / whoever the fuck, Da Vinci.
That's actually a fucking genius idea. We bring fucking everybody here, and then, like a needle in a haystack, we find the one man who can invent electrical computer. That sounds fucking retarded, and it's not true. You have to at least say that the H-1B program is being scammed. If you don't admit that, then as far as like any type of discussion that goes anywhere is concerned, it's over. It's over. This is a direct quote from Moist Critical himself. I'm speaking on his behalf. He was too busy streaming Marvel Rivals to talk to you. So I'm here on his behalf, giving you opinions that he approved, okay? Nobody's expecting you to go full Steve Bannon here. You're a tech bro, we get it. Immigrant. But if you are on Team America, and by Team America, I don't mean Ben Shapiro's collection of ideas. America's not a collection of ideas. America is a people, Americans. If you are Team America, then the most prominent talking points need to be the immediate deportation of illegals and the end of the abuse of the American worker by programs like this H-1B, the gamification of stuff like this that's set up to benefit people who aren't us. Nobody wants.
You know, what happened too was pretty fucking glorious, and yeah, I kind of love that, smarty pants Musk, who pretends to be, Mr. Rational Argument. Him and Vivek, they came out and they offered some really trite, sort of cliched arguments. Vivek with his, bit about culture. And Elon with his bit about, the lazy Americans and contradicting himself. Oh, it's just about 0.01%. And then, an army of smart-ass white guys, basically, on the internet. All these guys he's calling subtards, start producing the receipts, the data, right? People are throwing up, oh, check this out, what I found, that they're bringing in tons of, people to fucking sweep floors and, all of these working class H-1Bs they're bringing in. And something I knew already about the H-1B program, that, they are required by law, it's part of the program, to advertise for jobs, right? To give you, the American citizen or the legal worker living here, a chance to apply for these jobs before they send them off. There's a video out there of some lawyer, speaking at an event for employers about this, who's schooling them on how to game that system. They routinely post, and they're supposed to, and it's written, I read it, and it's written specifically, in the rules that, it has to be conspicuous posting. It has to be somewhere first that people who work at your company can see it, and secondly, that people work in the industry need to be able to find the job offerings. But it's easy enough for them to still post it obscurely enough that they don't want to be, they don't want, and you see this in the video I described about the lawyer schooling them on how to game the system. You can see their first concern is that they don't want domestic applicants showing up. That's not what they want. To go directly to the H-1B, to the cheaper, more willing, more straight to the the serfs of the H-1B system, and people start posting that. And Elon Musk, if you watched the argument, he basically got his ass kicked. And there are all these people that that are as assholes, people like Richard Hanania, you know, jumping into the debate, Ian Miles Chong. It's so funny that, Musk, he'll pay attention to he's picked out some people online that he pays attention to, like Ian Miles Chong, who somehow, you know, his success on Twitter is, inexplicable, But Elon has picked out these people and they're just not going to risk. Guys like Chong and others are not going to risk losing Elon's support. So they're like right in there with him. And it's just this cringy ass kissing exercise, right? And Elon is reposting them or responding to them, and they're getting off on it, but also, of course, is that even Elon posting on Twitter? I mean, how the fuck does he have time? There's some obvious bullshit, obvious lies in the Elon myth that he's, the best player at some fucking game. Diablo, is that what it's called? I fucking hate games. Just fucking hate them. I've never fucked with them. I don't even know what they're about. I've never even tried them. You know what I mean? And I still hate them because they're out there and there's something I don't deal with. You ever have anything like that in your life? It's like, I have no interest, yet it's there and it's like big and I can see how important it is to people and I kind of wish I knew enough about it at least to not feel left out. But they can't possibly be worth a fuck. They can't possibly be worth the time that guys are putting into it. I look at my day and I think, what a shame it is. There's not enough hours in the day, and I feel shame for all the time I wasted. I couldn't imagine spending hours doing a game. I could not. It's sinful. Anyway, Musk is not the best player at some stupid fucking game, so he's probably not tweeting either. And somebody had a very interesting theory. That not only does he have somebody handling his tweets like most people, very prominent people. I mean, the Kardashians have people handling their tweets, right? And that somebody posted some of his tweets and the odd language that's being used. Now it's Elon. He's kind of a weirdo, but the odd language, they were pointing out that it really did sound like Pajit English. The strange wordings, right, that he was using. So somebody's offered, and who knows what's true, right? There's supposedly these alt identities he's got up there online. Who fucking knows or cares ultimately? But somebody offered that not only that he in fact has an Indian serf doing his tweets for him, which would be too fucking funny. It would just be too funny.
Wants to solve the Japanese birth rate problem by turning Japan into India. That's preposterous. That only would work in a computer simulation where you can just change the code and make a Japanese person. I've tried it. It can't be done. In my laboratory, okay, where Asmongold is right now, down in the basement, I have tried over 150 times to turn an Indian into a Japanese man. And the only thing I was able to accomplish was boiling them. All right? If you think, Elon, or Asmongold if you're watching this, if you think you can turn an Indian person into a Japanese person by boiling them, not going to happen, okay? Go down to my basement and talk to the 150 Indians that I already tried that on. Doesn't work. Nobody wants to solve the American birth rate problem. What's going to happen? We're going to run out of people. Oh, the stock prices are going to go down. Oh, that's a problem for the...
It's another funny thing. Elon, one of his big things is demographic. He's posted on demographic collapse, right? I mean, can't give up on Elon entirely. I mean, just have to accept that we don't trust him. We know that there's an evil side there. But perhaps, this is what I was thinking earlier. We should treat Elon the way he treats us, all right? There's Elon over there, and of course he's super powerful and seems unassailable in his wealth and power. But we're all of us out here. So we're an army out here, you know. And he seems like the super smart guy. He's got to be brilliant, you know. He's got to be way ahead of us in the 5D chess game. But, you know, he's not really that smart. But and again, we're an army out here. And you saw him get his ass kicked in the argument. And you see that he's, like I was saying before, you know, he's one of these brilliant guys who's kind of an idiot in certain ways. So maybe we should just view Elon the way he views us. He's there, and we should take of him. We can take what we find useful, and his opposition to woke, his writing. He wrote an op-ed that was published in a German newspaper, I think, in favor of AfD, Alternative für Deutschland, the so-called far-right, anti-immigrant political party in Germany, right? So he keeps doing good things, not to mention, I mean, I support the space program. I'm all for him creating these remarkable businesses in America. You know, not least that. We should take that from him. And then that, you know, and then where he's not on our side, we kick him in the balls repeatedly and stab him in the back. We should treat him the way he treats us, is that there should be nothing left of this asshole when we're done with him. Or not asshole, I mean that. It's not hateful. The same way I used to tell people back in 2016, we need to be prepared to betray Donald Trump. You know, because this is not about him. It's not about, you know, being trustworthy. And it's about saving the race, right? So we should be ready to, like I said, extract what value we can out of this man, and then leave the unusable remaining husk in a heap somewhere, right? And then go on our way. That should be our attitude toward him. Not that, oh God, this guy's got to be one of us, or he's got to be pure, or anything else, right? Because we know he's not that. But again, there may be things we can get out of this asshole before we're done with him, you know. This is like, you know, one of those games, like those, you know, like a cheater's game, or, you know, game theory situation. What you got here is your game theory situation. Who betrays who first, right? Sort of situation. That's the relationship we should have with Musk. As for Vivek, screw him. You know, he has nothing to offer us.
All in podcast to figure out. It's David Sachs. Sachs of what? Sachs of gold? Just start calling yourself David Sachs of gold. What's the other guy? Jason Sachs?
Aspen Gold. I don't even know who that is. Jason Balzac? Yeah. Balzac?
Asmongold? Asmongold. David Sachs should change his name to Asmongold. The branding is already set up for you. Asmongold wants to himself. You can replace his body and become the top streamer in America. I shouldn't say Asmongold wants to himself. I love Asmongold.
I don't even know who that is. Somebody tell me who the fuck that is.
Is he good?
No, I don't care.
I've never watched him.
Don't even.
I just know his name's Asmongold.
I have to
The
use
only people who
facilities.
want to fix the American birth rate problem by turning America into India are fuckers. People are not interchangeable economic units. If they're not more than that, then that's just an extension of antinatalism. That's just nihilism. That's just people don't matter. Neil deGrasse Tyson, the universe doesn't care shit. The universe cares. That's why we're here. It's understandable why a computer guy, why an engineer would think that or would want to think that, because it would make solving problems so much easier. We have hardwired group preferences, we have genetic memory, we have culture. This is not learned stuff. It's so deeply embedded in us that it carries on for thousands of years. Thinking of people as interchangeable units, while it would be useful in a simulation or in an economic theorem, it strips them of their humanity. And by the way, it's one of the first steps towards any authoritarian dictatorship type system. It's one of the first steps towards Marxism, is thinking of people as just labor. It's a very gross, anti-human thing to think, just to appeal to the Redditor in you. That's middle brain shit. Stupid people at the bottom of the spectrum know that everybody is special. Everybody's special. Everybody's different and has their own thing. Retards know this. Geniuses understand that everybody is a unique product by and for their zeitgeist, or Zeitgeist if you want to go with the moist critical pronunciation. Everybody is uniquely a product of their time and location and has their place in space and time. The smart people know this, the stupid people know this. It's people in the middle with 110 IQ, which is the worst IQ to have, who think that people can just be pushed around and moved around and changed. They can't. No hate towards Hispanics, okay? But that's why the room that I'm sitting in is covered in dust, is because the general contractor I hired used Hispanic labor. I didn't know. They laid down masonry cement. When I said I wanted polished concrete floors, masonry cement, you can't polish it. They left board marks and footprints in it. And I had to pay another crew of black people, okay, shout out to Greg, to come in here with jackhammers and get this shit dumpstered out of here. I went and hired my own blacks. I went in the ghetto and hired them by hand. That's how you need to hire blacks for SpaceX. And what you get is you get lower quality construction. You get lower wages for the blue collar workers who are here and fighting. You realize that people are fucking up against the wall fighting to make ends meet? Do you understand that the American people are on the ropes right now? Your people are not the world, okay? It's the American people. That's where this shit is popping off. That's where you came to do business. The American people are your problem now, to the extent that you want people to pay attention to your opinion. And by people, I mean actual people, not Patrick Bet-David, not Ian Miles Chong, Scott Adams, not these fucking faggots that'll walk around sucking your ass because you have money and because you made an electric car. But to the extent that you want that, you have to protect the American people. You're all about being pro-natalism and increasing the birth rate. Why is the average dude gonna wanna have kids when he can barely afford to live by himself and eat Domino's? Hey, why isn't China importing infinity Indians right now? If it's such a huge economic advantage, why isn't China doing it? We need to do a naval blockade of China to make sure they don't get.
We must not allow a Pajit gap, Mr. President. Yeah, no. Well, of course, China's not importing them because they hate them. And that's another thing. I don't know if Sam will get there. But what we're importing, and it's already bad enough, there's already this idiot movement brewing, just getting started, to go to war with China. That, you know, that the deep state, the American, you know, the Department of Defense, the defense industry, you know, everybody in, you know, the American empire, for lack of a better term, wants to go to war with China, right? They see it as inevitable that we're going to have to go to war with China because they're just going to outcompete us, no matter how many Pajits Elon Musk manages to import. You know, there are a billion people with a higher average IQ than us, and they're not degenerate, you know, and they've got a much longer history, and they've already got a bigger economy, and they dominate the Eurasian landmass where 75% of humanity lives, you know. We only managed to take off in part because we got all this great real estate here in America that had nothing but a few straggling Indian tribes on it, right? And China was down. We caught it. We caught the great timing. China was the sick old man of Asia, and they were down, and they were going to stay down for a couple hundred years. Well, we built up. That's over. They're probably going to, you know, it's probably the Chinese century. We're probably already in it. But, you know, it's the way it works. And every empire tries to extend itself with war, right? You know, and it doesn't work because you have to have something real backing it up. You have to actually make things, and you have to actually do things, and you have to have What we don't have anymore, the vitality of an ascendant civilization, which China has. You know, we need to get over the idea, though, that, oh, we've got to be number one. Maybe we don't have to be number one. Maybe it's okay if we're not. Maybe it's all right if China dominates Asia. It's their fucking neck of the woods anyways. Maybe it's okay if they dominate the world economy. All we have to do is take care of ourselves. Yo! Hang on a second.
Any of these amazing Indians. Every Indian that makes his way into China is a threat because China will use their genius to get one over on us. That's the biggest threat this country's facing, right? I think we need to go nuclear. I think we need to say, if China imports enough Indians, it's like diamonds. It's like nanotechnology. Indians are like nanotechnology. We have to be willing to use nuclear weapons to keep China from getting these precious Indians. That's step one. Sounds retarded, right? Because it is. It's retarded. It's subtarded. Ever hear of a subtard? By the way, Moist Critical coined that term, subtard. Competing with China in what sense? GDP? Making a number go up? Having software companies that are valued more highly? Competing with China in what sense? And at what cost? If the cost is making America look like Calcutta, that's not worth it. That's not a price that we're willing to pay. People keep posting these aerial drone display videos of drones shaped like a dragon. Correct me if I'm wrong, that's something that a bright high schooler could do on a smaller scale, is it not? Making drones move around in 3D space? How is that an impressive problem to anybody except boneheads who are mystified by drones in the first place? Look at this aerial drone display. It's a ballet of killer drones. How can we compete with that? That's what drones do. They move around in coordinate space. Who gives a fuck? It's the low-hanging fruit of robotics that mystifies people. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Didn't we have more impressive shit in the 80s? Isn't this more impressive?
One. Cover.
With no pilot to compromise performance, even more unusual craft and propulsion systems have been designed and tested.
Why do we need to compete with them? Can't we just kick their spies out and tell them to fuck off? When do I get some Chinese pussy, okay? Am I not a big enough media figure that the CCP, is it the CCP, Chinese Communist Party? Why aren't they sending these hot spies to fuck with me? Suck my dick for blackmail. When's that gonna happen? China, I'm waiting, okay? I have 300,000 YouTube subscribers, or 250,000 probably, 200,000? How much on Hide Wars? If you have over 100,000 Twitter followers, you should demand that a hot Chinese spy comes and sucks your dick.
Oh,
okay?
God, don't.
You take video.
Don't go there.
Whatever.
Don't go
Why is that? Am I not popular enough to get this fucking mingling? To get Bing Bing over here? Ah! A Tesla Model X and Bing Bing over here sucking me. That's my price, China. Send them over. Do we need to build giant cities that nobody lives in to compete?
Yeah.
Do we need to turn our country into a surveillance state fucking nightmare to compete?
Yeah,
Do
apparently.
we need to essentially have slave labor to compete? What type of competition are you talking
Suicide nets at every company. Now you're getting it.
about? And at what cost? Competing with China is competing with literal slave labor, and that's impossible to compete with. It's not worth competing with. And nobody who has
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. How about we just don't compete? Let's just try to be the best fucking America we can be. I know that sounds corny, but really, why don't we take a more holistic approach? Not look at GDP and we're competing, right? Economically, right? Yeah, we need all these assholes, these foreign assholes, utterly foreign to us, right? Who hate us, right? No, we need to bring them in there for GDP. Why don't we just think, maybe, God damn, maybe the economy should serve society rather than society serves the economy. Golly, right? Maybe.
There's a real sense of what matters in life thinks anything about competing with China. We've been hearing this for 30 fucking years. As long as China has been an industrial nation, there have been headlines, The Economist. I remember this in the dentist office when I was a kid. China's looming on the horizon. We have to accept a lower quality of life immediately to compete with China. That's the thrust of every article. You, the American worker, you have to take.
And if we don't accept this lower quality of life, we're going to have a lower quality of life. You don't want that, do you? It's basically what they're saying, you know. Yeah, no, it's going badly, and we've got a lot of people. A couple of things are happening too. We have people who are kind of afraid to call out the real enemy, which is Israel and the diaspora, right? So there's China, and they take all that pent-up energy that they're afraid to unleash on the real enemy, who's right there, who will smash them instantly, and they unleash it on the Chinese, who are more foreign than our Israeli friends, who kind of look like us, right? And we grew up on the culture they dominate, right? And we keep being told by assholes like Elon and Vivek, that they're the cool kids, the smart kids, right? And the worst thing in the world is to be bigoted against them. But there are those Chinese, and I know we won't say it outright, but they're little slant-eyed, funny-looking little slant-eyed creatures, And so there's going to be a lot of people who get on board with this, this push to go to war with China, and there's going to be no end of pretext. Right? There'll be Taiwan, there'll be China's own aggressive nature. I'm not saying the Chinese aren't assholes. They appear to be assholes by all measures from this vantage. Rustin Rohrer took piano lessons. Right. Well, good for you. You are Vivek approved, Rustin. Yeah. But did you study for 80 hours a week? That's another fucking thing. This numbers gets out there, right? 80 hours a week, yeah. 80 hours a week. I mean, you're not working 80 hours a week, man? Yeah, you're fucking lazy. 80 hours a week, that's a 16-hour day, right? If I got it correctly, yeah. I mean, 40-hour week's an 8-hour day. 80 hours a week means Monday through Friday you're working 16 hours, which means you literally only have time for the work and sleep if you're sleeping a full 8 hours. And you're probably going to need 8 hours after working, 16, whatever it is. Yeah, 16 hours a day. You know how rare it is for people to actually work 16-hour days, 80-hour weeks? People, I mean, they kind of do, like you're running a business, maybe even a store or just some new business, right? Where you're there all the time, but you're not working the whole time. You're basically on call the whole time. You might be there at the fucking store. And that's what I'm thinking is one of the most common examples of that sort of thing. But you're not fucking slaving away for 16 hours. And they keep throwing this shit out there like that's the standard. And I realize, I know I work my ass off. And I know the other skilled blue-collar people I work with work pretty hard and put in a lot of hours. In fact, in my industry, it's been typical that people work 50 to 60-hour weeks or more. We're wage slaves. You got to put in the OT to make real money. So you're telling people who work 50, 60-hour weeks, which is plenty. That's fucking plenty to be working. We were advancing up until just pretty recently in history. We were advancing away from this kind of servitude where we spent all our fucking time. We got the weekend, right? We got the 8-hour day. These were advancements. They were once viewed that way as advancements. And we did pretty well, America. Yes, with labor unions and everything else, right? We did pretty well for a good long stretch with these standards. Weekends off, 40-hour weeks, We were quite productive, and we still are pretty fucking productive. American workers actually quite productive still. And compare us to Europe, where they had a pretty good system that they're ruining now for no good fucking reason, you know. But they had, social democracies. They had a pretty good system. We used to tease them for not working enough or being lazy. Oh, no more of that shit, please. They take long vacations. They don't kill themselves working. And they have these amazing, or did until they started letting in the fucking third world, these amazing countries that were great places to live with a fucking high standard of living. So I don't know what the fuck Musk and Vivek are talking about, except that they're weirdos who don't understand humans. That's all I can think. I think Vivek does. I think Vivek probably lives pretty fucking casually, right? He's got a family. He's taking it easy. He's got all this money he made from his shitty business that didn't go anywhere. I mean, he's got it made. And he's probably not fucking busting his butt anymore either.
Take less pay and accept more bullshit because there's a big boogeyman looming on the horizon. It's China.
Yeah. God bless you. You're right. Absolutely right. No, we'll get back to that, and I'll let that play. I might back it up a little bit because I missed some. And let him play. His thoughts on China, I totally agree with. Russian Warrior says, what are your thoughts on KMG? Are Jews giving him money? No, the Jews don't have to give KMG money. He's just a really nice guy. He's just too old to change. And he grew up in this, the same way I was. I'm just young enough. Well, maybe not that. I'm pretty old, really, and I should be pretty set in my ways, but I'm not. So I'll give myself one praise, and that is that I retain my intellectual flexibility, and I'm not set in my ways intellectually, but for most people, you get over 50, man, it's done. You don't change your mind on anything. Virtually nothing, It seems to be the what happens to most people, and I think KMG, but he's also a very traditional guy. It's a good thing. He's not like me, where I'm kind of loose and flaky, and I'm out here, and this has always been a problem for me, that I've never held anything closely enough. Not my faith, not my patriotism, nothing, right? Nothing. You know what I mean? Everything's kind of conditional for me. Everything's not trusted in my mind. KMG, he has these fixed convictions that he's carried with him throughout his whole life. He's a stern Catholic, right? He's a stern patriot of Canada. And he was brought up in this milieu that is, we're not anti-Semitic. He's not, I should let him speak for himself, but he's not like one of these philo-Semites who kisses Jewish ass, and praises them and worships them. He's actually, I don't think he's naive about the Jews and what they represent. I mean, he's a Catholic after all. He sees the shit they've dumped on his people. But there is this post-World War II consensus that guys like him, most guys in his age range, most boomers, they're just not going to give it up. I mean, even if they do develop anti-Semitism, or even if they don't really like the Jews. I think there's a lot of people like this. They don't really like the Jews. Maybe they accept a lot of the anti-Semitic cliches about them, that they're responsible for porn and degenerate art and all this other shit. But they absolutely will not be anti-Semitic, and they will not, accept what I embrace. I don't personally hate the Jews. I call myself a political anti-Semite because, my whole worldview has become dominated by opposition to Jewish power, and I think it's positively silly and naive and stupid and self-destructive and cowardly to be anything other than political anti-Semite if you're not Jewish. You know, I can't hate them. You know, I mean, I like the Coen brothers too much to hate Jews. You know. All right, let's see what Sam has to say about it.
Nightmare to compete? Do we need to essentially have slave labor to compete? What type of competition are you talking about? And at what cost? Competing with China is competing with literal slave labor, and that's impossible to compete with. It's not worth competing with. And nobody who has a real sense of what matters in life thinks anything about competing with China. We've been hearing this for 30 fucking years. As long as China has been an industrial nation, there have been headlines, The Economist. I remember this in the dentist office when I was a kid. China's looming on the horizon. We have to accept a lower quality of life immediately to compete with China. That's the thrust of every article. You, the American worker, you have to take less pay and accept more bullshit because there's a big boogeyman looming on the horizon. It's China for 30 years. Yeah. Before that, it was Japan. It's
that coupled with the Peter Zehan guys, don't worry about China. It's gonna, they're gonna fall apart. I love all the stupid rationales for the Zehans offer for how China's gonna fall apart. Oh, their environmental policies, right? They're polluting. Their pollution is going to do them in, right? Like the Chinese are never going to wake up, right? Right, and the Chinese, right? They're so stupid, mind you. They're never going to realize that maybe we should stop polluting our rivers and air and shit, right? They're just going to go until they're all coughing and expiring in the streets, right? I mean, I've heard that argument. That used to be one of the arguments. Or demographic decline, even though we're way ahead of them and they got 1 billion people to start with anyway. Oh man, they're not having kids. It's over. Don't worry. Well, I kind of wish those guys would carry the day, and at least we won't go to war with China, if they carry the day. But I think, perhaps I'm naive, but I think, you know what, China's probably going to win, but maybe we should just pull in the troops and concentrate on competing. We still have certain advantages over them, right? And even if we become a secondary power in the world, we can still be a great place that makes great things and has a great culture and has a good society in which people can live and thrive and be normal and happy. What's wrong with that? What the fuck would be wrong with that? Aspiring to that, who are these people who, I mean, I kind of understand. I mean, I still have that impulse in me from a child that, it's a competition if we're not number one, especially growing up in America. If we're not number one, oh, fuck, it's the end of the world, right? I mean, we're kind of cursed by the fact that we were number one for so long. We can't give it up. Maybe it's okay to give it up. There's a whole world out there that, of countries that were never number one that are wonderful places, creative places, places that produce wonderful things, But, who are these people that are going to get us into war with China? Or who are these people, import infinity Indians, or we lose to China? Well, they're mostly they're people whose own bottom line depends on it, right? They're people in power or people with money, organizations whose very existence depends on this bullshit idea of being number one, of competing with China, Fucking Elon Musk, And that's another thing regarding China. The Indians in China still hate each other. They don't get along. They've had a border war forever. So we're importing this huge diaspora, yet another powerful diaspora that's going to be rich, like who, and it's going to be foreign, more foreign than who in many ways. And it's got a beef with, guess who? China, right? Yes, sir, we better go to war with China. they're going to say, you know. I mean, people talk about us being bigots because we oppose all this shit, and they have no clue the depths of prejudice that exist in the hearts of people like the Indians, or the Chinese for that matter, the rest of the fucking world. We are an anomaly in that we're relatively non-prejudiced. The most prejudiced among us are weak tea compared to the Indians and the Chinese and the rest of the fucking world.
Constant. It's to keep wages suppressed. It's to make you shut up. Elon doubles down in this tweet, offering a false dichotomy. Either we have to have more legal immigration, or you, the person disagreeing with it, you want America to fail for your own personal gain. What personal gain are you talking about? You want America to fail for your own personal gain. What is, Elon, what are you talking about? How does anybody personally gain from this? The only gain happening is in stock prices of tech companies. That's the gain. That's where the gain is. Cui bono. That's who stands to benefit from this arrangement. This tweet, it's not first principles thinking. It's not in good faith dialogue. This is a dishonest mischaracterization. Nobody's calling you a liar. People say things in the heat of the moment that are dishonest, though. This is a dishonest mischaracterization of the tens of thousands of people who are blowing up your website. This is not an own on Elon. This is not dunking on Elon. I know that you can bring the band hammer down, and I know that you are going to be tempted to do so, that you already have with the Groypers, which, by the way, you have to undo that, man. You blanket banned people, not for saying or not for posting swastikas, but for stating their opinion on this H-1B issue. That is a complete violation of the trust that the people you wanted to like you placed in you when you said that you're for free speech. It's straight George W. Bush, you're either with us or you're with the terrorists. That's what this is.
Oh shit. Hang on. I just fucked up that screen by clicking on it.
I just won. That was Asmongold that I spit on. I have kids who are graduating with tech gadgets, more poorly run. And you can say that they cost X amount of dollars. The justification for a lot of Marxism is all popularity. If you keep digging this hole, it will be misplaced, and it'll be there because you're rich. What does winning actually mean? Healthy functioning societies, they need more than gadgets. They need more than Marvel, more than Goy slop. They need a shared ideology, heritage, history, beliefs and values, religion, or they collapse and they crumble. That's Babel, that's Rome, that's every empire that's been crushed because there wasn't social cohesion. Basic bitch libertarian principles aren't enough. Maybe they're enough to get at VC funding, maybe they're enough to create an interesting exercise of some sort, but they're not enough to hold people together. And again, we're back to the idea of people as a collection of economic units. That's what's at the foundation of Marxism, that reality is just math. And thus the justification for a lot of Marxism is also what leads Silicon Valley libertarian type people to attempt to quantify the unquantifiable. Mount Rushmore, the space program, the interstate system, motion pictures, electricity, these are all things that are not quantifiable. So they're quantifiable in the sense that you can look back and you can say that they cost X amount of dollars, or that a certain amount of concrete and steel was used in their construction. But these dream projects are unquantifiable things. There's no slider in the program where you can crank up the number of Indians to 200 million and bring the American dream to fruition faster, okay? There's no data entry point where you can bump up the Indians and get Chrysler buildings popping up everywhere, more Art Deco construction. We do not need more bloated code bases, more tech gadgets, more poorly run hotels, more work ethic, okay? What we need is we need leaders willing to fight for the American people, not for corporations, not for the idea of America, but for the American people. That is the only thing that we need on the brink of collapse, on the eve of our crumbling. It needs to be something higher, a higher ideal than tech company market caps. If it's just that, then it's just noise. It's just not reality. Reality is the hundreds of thousands of kids who are graduating with massive college debt, hundreds of job applications. They're being looked over for people who are not us. That's not a meritocracy. That's not some idealistic, high-minded thing. It's just money. Apple and Google might win, but America will be worse. The soil that all this winning flourishes out of is salted. And that means that the next Apple, the next Google will be Chinese. Potentially the next SpaceX will be Chinese. Wouldn't that be strange? Wouldn't that be interesting if China makes it to Mars first? It would be great for humanity. Why don't we do it? Let's do it. China makes it to Mars before America. Does that sound like fun? It's just humans. They're just interchangeable economic units. Why wouldn't we want that? I think we do it. It sounds good to me. How do we define winning? I just won. That was Asmongold that I spit on. I killed him. I'm not dissing Asmongold. I'm just playing around. I spit on Moist Critical. I'll spit on his face. Fucking guy. No, we love Moist. We have a deal with Moist right now. It's for nicotine pouches. These are Moist's nicotine pouches. I call them Moist. Did you know Moist is a Yiddish word? I didn't know Moist Critical is actually Jewish. Did you know that? Crazy fact. Winning. Is winning making it so that tech companies have even higher valuations? Is that winning? It's the valuation of Netflix. I figured it out. That's why we're not winning, is because Netflix stock isn't high enough. That's the only way to win. I want to kill my neighbors and burn them alive and blow up my car, but it's okay because Netflix is worth $3 trillion. I want to cut my cock off and scramble my brain with fucking fluoride. I'm gonna win because Netflix is worth $3 trillion. I can't believe the dollars are this high. I can't believe we're winning this much. The dollars are this high. We have such good drones and spying technology. We're winning. That's the most retarded thing I've ever heard. At least leftoid medicine vaccine brain niggas. Bleep that out, please. I said people. At least people whose blood has been replaced with vaccines and are so far on the left they salute Mickey Mouse. They think that they're helping people. If winning is just drones doing an aerial display while a robot jerks me off to sample my DNA, then everything is lost. I killed a homeless person today, Chris. Did you know that? It was free speech. I said, you fucking dirty ass bum ruining my street. I'll kill you. And then I used a speech gun to shoot a speech bullet into his speech head. I ripped an NFL cheerleader team. The guys too. I used free speech on them. Do they have male cheerleaders in the NFL?
I have to go and join the others.
National Flag League. Look it up, please.
Second.
Does the NFL have male cheerleaders? That is awesome if that's true. A third of the league's male cheerleaders.
Oh, Jesus.
America is the greatest country on earth. Here's your male cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Is everybody on fentanyl, everybody working at D'Angelo's, everybody working at the mall, they're all retards? Everybody who's had their lives destroyed by Big Pharma, by the grist mill of inflation and taxation, everybody that's been betrayed by their leadership in this country, are they all retards? Is everybody who's got, and this is a lot of people, who has $400 in their bank account and is getting hit with overdraft fees and has the landlord from hell, are they all retards? You work at a sub sandwich shop. You couldn't invent PayPal. If you really believe that these people are all retards, then you have no place in the discourse going on about the future of this country. You are just a computer guy. And I don't think you really believe that. I hope to God that you don't. But if that's really what you believe, then you're not a leader. I could say fuck you. I could say take a step back and fuck your own face. But I'll say this. If you really believe that the American people are retards, which they are, we got male cheerleaders in the NFL, but if you really do not have in your heart grace and respect for the Homer Simpson, vinyl siding, economy shitbox driving retards who make your dream possible,
Yeah.
if you have a heart, if you are a human being, then that will sting harder than telling you to go fuck yourself. You can do the go fuck yourself all day. I tell myself to go fuck myself. You can say that all day. Fuck you, fuck you. I say that in the mirror when I wake up. And when I put makeup on. Who gives a fuck? If you believe these people are retards and you don't have any goodwill towards them, then you're not a leader. You're just a nerd. And there's plenty of those. There's plenty of nerds who got lucky. I bought Bitcoin, Magic the Gathering online exchange. I got lucky. There's no shortage of nerds who got lucky. There's this disturbing idea from the BoomerCon right that America is just a collection of ideas, and
I have to go join the others for recognition of this, whatever. I guess today's a date of significance or something. I don't know. Yeah, so I have to go join the others. Fuck. I fucking hate it, people. All right, so let's just play music for you. Maybe I'll get back here. We'll finish. All right, I'll be back.
bright sun again. Survived the long nights again. Time to explain. He's a fool, but he is right. He is right, but he's a fool. Don't expect too much of it, he whispers, and he yells. This brick is a brick to build, incapable hands. He's the mother of a careless child. He's the architect. He's the mason. He's doing it again. More than once again. Something out of nothing. Nothing in return. First the mundane, then the fantastic. First the game, and then the score. But first of all, the last name. This brick is a brick to throw. Incapable hands. One can perform a job with various degrees of dedication and accomplishment, he says. He's carrying a child.
Home is where I want to be. Pick me up and turn me round. I feel numb, born with a weak heart. I guess I must be having fun. The less we say about it, the better. Make it up as we go along. Feet on the ground, head in the sky. It's okay, I know nothing's wrong, nothing. Oh, I have plenty of time. Oh, you got light in your eyes, and you're standing here beside me. I love the passing of time. Never for money, always for love. Cover up and say goodnight. Say goodnight. Home is where I want to be, but I guess I'm already there. I come home, she lifted up her wings. I guess that this must be the place. I can't tell one from the other. Did I find you or you find me? There was a time before we were born. If someone asks, this is where I'll be, where I'll be. Oh, we're drifting in out.
she goes. There she stands up for everything she chose.
There's a rhythm and rush these days, where the lights don't move and the colors don't fade. Leaves you empty with nothing but dreams, in a world gone shallow, in a world gone mean. Sometimes there's things a man cannot know. The gears won't turn and the leaves won't grow. There's no place to run and no gasoline.
suoni abbattenti, suona chitarra mia, suoni abbattenti. I colpi giusti lo suona tutti da, i colpi giusti suona chitarra mia, i colpi giusti suona chitarra mia. Ruspiti dallo sonno, non più dormire, ruspiti dallo sonno, non più dormire, e non ci dormi qua, e non ci dormi qua, e non ci dormi quando c'ha la bimba male. C'ha bimba mari e non ci dormi quando c'ha bimba mari, un letto di viole, un letto di viole, ci è tu faciti. Ci nu faciti, un letto di viole, ci lo faciti. terrazzelli, cuscini di seta e lì lenzuoli sogni arrecamati. Arrecamati e lì lenzuoli sogni arrecamati, sono belli l'occhitori e l'occhitori belli sono i fronni d'arburelli e l'occhitori vivaci sono i fronni rimpampati. Rapido belli che da parlare, va di stui parole, ti lamento li scordà, va di stui parole, ti lamento li scordà.
Young woman, share your fire with me. My heart is cold, my soul is free. I am a stranger in your land, a wandering man, call me sand.
Oh, sir, my fire is very small. It will not warm thy heart at all. But thee may take me by the hand, hold me and I'll call thee sand.
Young woman, share your fire with me. My heart is cold, my soul is free. I am a stranger in your land, a wandering man, call me sand.
At night when stars light up the sky, oh, sir, I dream my fire is high. Oh, taste these lips, sir, if you can. Wandering man, I'll call thee sand. Oh, sir, my fire is burning high. If it should stop, sir, I would die. A shooting star has crossed my land, a wandering man.
She whispered sand.
Sand.
Young woman shared her fire with me. Now warms herself with memories. I was a stranger in her land, a wandering man, she called me sand.
He was a stranger in my land, a wandering man.
She called me sand.
Woke up with fingers crossed in a boy's bed with your pants off. After polite declines of coffee and toast, walked home itching in last night's clothes. Past the phone booth and the beauty bar, the broken windows of your neighbor's cars. Through the back door to a message from sis, asking who was your New Year's kiss. Took the afternoon to piece it all, plus a half a dozen phone calls. Crashed a party with Larissa and Chris in pursuit of a New Year's kiss. Not the way that you'd imagined it. On a balcony with champagne lips, but in a pantry against the pancake mix. You had your New Year's kiss.
Thank you, 410. Thank you all. Hey, there are people still hanging around. That's good to see. Yeah, all right. So I had to go out there and socialize for a bit. Couldn't. Yeah, no. I mean, couldn't just leave the door closed to people on New Year's Eve, you know. It wouldn't be right. Much as I'd like to. That would not be the proper way to go about it. In fact, I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm going to be a more sociable guy, more positive. Yeah. Not just yet, though. I've got a little over 2 hours before I have to do that. So, hey, Jewel. Happy New Year, Jewel. Jim Bowden. Art, if you're still there. Not you, John. You broke the rules, John. So, Hey, Bear. Zed Dez. Not John, was it? Or was it Thomas? Not you, Thomas. You're bringing me down. Yeah. No negativity, man. John Vance. No Happy New Year for you, John. You broke the rule. You don't know what the rule is? And that's really bad. That's another rule. Not knowing the rules is against the rules. Chuck the Buck Norris, Happy New Year. Yeah, I think that's everything. Quachangelo, you're probably not even here. I know Quachangelo, you're passed out. Somewhere you're probably passed out under the Space Needle right now, right? Is that still a thing in Seattle here? You know, the Space Needle, like they do fireworks off the Space Needle at midnight. Yeah, I went to it once. I went to it when I first lived here, 96 through 97. It was New Year's 96 to 97. And I went out there and, yeah, we went out there and took the family. I couldn't imagine that going. I went with the wife and my daughter, who was like 5 or smaller, you know. I don't know why I'm doing this. I mean, 5-year-olds aren't that big. But, yeah, I couldn't imagine taking a kid down there tonight or now. That would be nuts. Jim Bowden says that Luke, I guess that's Luke Ford, Luke's New Year resolution is to get his foreskin back. Okay, well, did he misplace it? Or is it in Hawk? Is it in the pawn shop? Has it been seized by the authorities? Did he have to check it with the customs when he came to the country? Yeah, I don't think he's getting it back. No, there's no need for it anyway. I mean, I don't mind not having one. I mean, if it didn't signify what it signifies, you know. I can't remember how old I was when I learned that I was circumcised, you know, and learned what it meant and everything else. I'm sure I just assumed that, you know, that's what a willy was. It was what I had, you know. Only not as good. Okay. So let's go back to, let's finish. There's about 16 minutes here left of Sam Hyde's open letter to Elon Musk, which is, you know, it's moderately entertaining. For Sam Hyde, it's almost coherent. For Sam Hyde, it's 45 minutes of near coherence from Sam Hyde, which is, I'm going to say it's a good portent for the year. It should be a good year. If even Sam can get it together for 45 minutes and be almost consistent.
You bring everybody in the world, the teeming masses who are desperate for a half gallon of milk. You bring them here and all of a sudden they're hit like lightning with this idea that makes them able to make this country stronger. This country's never been weaker.
That's
and
the
it's
Indian
never.
immigrants.
I bought Bitcoin, Magic the Gathering online exchange. I got lucky.
He's talking about he got lucky with his investments, but most people don't get lucky, I guess.
There's no shortage of nerds who got lucky. There's this disturbing idea from the BoomerCon right that America is just a collection of ideas, and you bring everybody in the world, the teeming masses who are desperate for a half gallon of milk, you bring them here and all of a sudden they're hit like lightning with this idea that makes them able to make this country stronger. This country's never been weaker, and it's never been more open to foreigners who aren't us. These two things, they're not unrelated, they're directly related. Would Ben Shapiro say the same thing about Israel? Israel's just a collection of ideas. Would Vivek say the same thing about India? India is just a collection of ideas, really good ideas. That's why they're doing so good. Grope women on the train. That's not a glib remark, by the way. I make a lot of jokes about.
Yeah, you know, have a river that you think of as holy and then still dump all your garbage in it. What the fuck is going on over there?
Do you want the remaining pizza?
Hang on. Huh? Pizza? Oh, sorry, dead air. All right. All right. What's that, Art? Fireworks scene at the waterfront now. Mini ambulance sirens. Maybe people are drunk and injured. New York City, the crowd wears diapers, locked in the ball drop area. Oh, yeah. I think I saw that from last year. Right? People waiting in line and somebody interviewing them and says, what if you have to go to the bathroom? And this guy, like a regular guy, says, oh, the secret is you wear diapers. No thanks. Yeah, no. No. All right, Sam, please continue. Sorry about the interruption.
Indians in my stand-up act. I had an Indian woman come up to me after a show. I thought she was going to chew me out and beat my ass, ear-beating Indian style, for the jokes that I made. She said to me, thank you for saying that. I went there with my 13-year-old sister, and they pulled her pants down on the train. Is that an Indian idea? When we bring them over, does that idea suddenly vanish and they get the neural net download of American ideas? Is that how it works? The people who are mad at you right now don't view America as a...
They pass through this, this transparent, invisible plane, right? And all of that shit just washes out. And it's all left behind them, And every now and then we have to take the transparent plane and shake it out. All the shit comes out of it.
Collection of ideas. It's not an economic zone. I hate how there's this argument against Americans asking them what they built. If you're so great, what did you build?
Yeah.
What did you build? Nothing significant.
What did you do personally? Yeah. Note that does not apply when it's time to shame you for slavery or colonialism or any number of supposed sins.
That gets built gets built on an individualistic scale. The greatest things that humans have built, cathedrals, which if you disagree with this, it's just, you're wrong.
You're an idiot.
I mean, computers are pretty up there, but cathedrals are a good example of this. Cathedrals are built over hundreds of years. They're built not just by the army of stone masons who build them, but by the towns who pay for it. They are the cream sitting on top of the cake. The cake is the soil. The cake is the vinyl siding dumbasses who are your customers, who are the people who pay for this shit by putting their retirement accounts in Vanguard mutual funds. They're the people who you owe a debt to, a debt for being able to do the stuff that you do. These H-1B tech workers that are coming in, so many of them are just managing apps that other people built. They're maintaining code bases for stuff that was built years ago. What are they making? Social media apps that collect all your data? They're making to-do apps, dating apps. Who fucking cares, man? What did they build? Mobile phone games? It's just stuff that feeds more into consumerism. It's not actually making life better for anybody. The sentiment that Americans aren't good enough, that's one of the darker things.
You know, it's not even a question. I don't understand. It's really of a whole with this ridiculous idea among Western Hawaii's, the moral universalist idea, the idea that we have to justify ourselves objectively against a universal moral standard, and other people's don't. We have to objectively make an argument as to why we deserve to exist. And you know, the Indians or anybody else, despite their considerable pride that just comes flowing out of them once they feel free to express their bigoted, overweening ethno-pride, they do not have the same idea that we have to objectively defend ourselves, right? Likewise, you know, what he's saying here, you know, we think that that there's no, you know, we have to objectively argue for why we deserve to be here over somebody who wasn't born here, has no connection to the place, right? And there's no credit, you know, there is no allowance given apparently by the Elon Musk, not just Elon Musk, because of course he's a rootless cosmopolite, you know, he's not from here. He's a South African and he has just a tenuous relationship to that place apparently, you know, and his mentality is globalist. But even people who are of America, whose roots go deep in America, white people, liberal people from America, think that, yeah, you, Joe Blow, you know, you go back generations here, you still have to make an argument as to why you contribute more than this Indian hotshot who's going to come here and work for 80 hours a week. That's not even the goddamn question. Should it be? We're supposed to favor our own. What happens to a people that no longer favors its own?
Things that has happened here. I know that Vivek Ramaswamy does believe it to be the case, and for him, this Twitter bomb was it was a mask-off moment in a way that I hope it wasn't for you. But that sentiment and the Twitter deboosting, algorithm change, blanket ban, all that stuff, those are the darker things in the sense of not good for humanity, not good for the future. Running Twitter the same way your enemies did before you bought it.
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted when you bought this thing? Is that the let it sink in moment? Is that what you envisioned for the global meeting grounds? And we're not talking about just making the 10% of people on the left and the 10% of people on the right mad. The middle is the Overton window. You're just talking about satisfying.
That's another thing he's referring to. Elon has such idiotic opinions. He's really not sophisticated regarding these questions, too, right? Which makes me tense. I mean, normally I would think, okay, Elon must know more about me, about H-1Bs and these issues than I do, being as he works. He has these companies and everything, and he works with these guys. But it's not necessarily true. And you see his trite, stupid opinions. I mean, he posts on X, he says, I've pissed off the 10% far right and the 10% farthest left at the same time. I know I'm doing something right. That's such a tired old cliche, that I've pissed off the extremes on both ends. So yeah, that idea that it's just split the difference, whatever it is, whatever the political landscape looks like, split the difference between the extremes and you're going to be fine. Which sounds it's idiotic, right? I mean, look at history. How many times have societies gotten off track, going in the wrong direction? You know what I mean? One of those extremes is driving things. It's not the extreme right.
Find the Overton window. This is censorship. You're engaging in censorship pretty much right off the rip here. You just bought Twitter. You just got in with Trump. You just became a Republican. You just courted the MAGA base. That's a pretty big betrayal of the role that you have stepped in to fill, whether or not it's even true, okay? I couldn't work at SpaceX. I don't have a delusion about that. It doesn't matter because you are in charge of American companies. You are an American leader. So what matters is that that's the sentiment people are walking away with after your tweet storm. It's not helped by these Patrick Bet-David, wolf in sheep's clothing, cocksucker podcaster guys who are just up your ass because they have money. The extent to which you deserve to be a king, more importantly, or equally importantly, how posterity will look upon your works is directly related to your attitude, your benevolence towards the American people. The Cybertruck's cool, but if America crumbles, it's because we've taken on too many outsiders who don't give a shit about the country. Then the Cybertruck will be a footnote in a Wikipedia. It'll be the DeLorean. It'll be something interesting. People look back, oh, that was kind of cool. You know why they won't be driving it? Because they'll be driving a Neo, and China will be the first to Mars. This isn't fixed by moving the goalposts of what an American is. It would be a lot easier if an American was just an Indian with an Ivy League degree. It would make this whole problem go away instantly if that worked. If you could just wave your hand and say that an American is a Guatemalan who was born here, that's an American. We wouldn't have to have this painful conversation. It would be so easy if you could do that, if it were a
But even if there were no differences, right? Even if there was no racial or ethnic differences, we would still be the people who were born here, whose parents worked and died here, are buried here, right? Some of us going back, countless generations, hundreds of years, some of us, right? We're still those people, right? And that has to count for something. What we are is divorced entirely from history, right? We think that every human being is a one-off. Every human being is just born into a void, right? There's no tie. Unlike the Chinese and other Asiatics who see, this sense of ancestors watching them, this sense of responsibility to ancestors. We used to have an equivalent of that when we had a history. We didn't express it the same way. We didn't think of them as ghosts, like the Asians do. But, we had a sense of posterity for the future generations that was, part of a hole with our sense of responsibility to the people before who had that sense of posterity regarding us, right? And we're totally cut off from that because of modernity and technology and everything else, and maybe mostly because of corrupt, malicious, dishonest ideology coming from, frankly, people who are a little more clever than Elon Musk. You know, Elon Musk is just kind of a dopey guy, I think, who genuinely believes his bullshit. You know, about we're going to go colonize Mars, and we can't do that if we don't have infinity Indians. You know, yeah, I'm all for space exploration. I'm down with that, but no.
Computer simulation. That's Marvel movie shit. An American is whoever Doctor Strange brings through the portal to beat Thanos. The new Spider-Man is an American. It's a lesbian from Sri Lanka who just came here to start up a cupcake business.
Yeah.
But she
How inspiring.
listens to Cold Wave. And she just came here to start up her hair dye business. She's an American. She's here for the American
That's what we're
dream.
about.
That's not reality.
That's what we're about. We're about, Asian girls coming here to do nails, right? That's the American story. Who the fuck started that?
That's math, that's Marxism, that's computer programmer, simulation, bullshit. We all know what an American is. And all these paragraph-long definitions and high-minded ideas, it's just propaganda. We know what an American is. And if you're not here to help the American people, then your usefulness to us is over with. The right wing, Republicans, conservatives, etc., they are trolls and memers and shit posters, and they have acerbic ideas, and they're also the most forgiving people. They are the most forgiving people. Anytime anybody does anything remotely based, they are absorbed by the right. Anna Kasparian talking about not feeling safe in her neighborhood. That's base.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's willing to forget all the shit she said.
Man, Anna Kasparian was red-pilled this whole time. I can't believe it. Damn. People, broadly speaking, do not expect you to be full-on 1950s racist Hank Hill, get him out guy. Get him out of here!
That's not Hank Hill, though. Hank Hill is really tolerant, actually. Sam.
That's not what they're looking for, okay? They're fine with the Silicon Valley tech version, the occasionally based, occasionally Neil deGrasse Tyson soy face. They love that Elon. It's this idea that Americans aren't good enough, this misunderstanding of what America is. You're just as bad.
But why would anybody think he's going to get anywhere with that argument, right? There are millions of us still out here, right? And Elon and Vivek think they're going to roll us over, right? That they're just going to, they're going to shit talk us into submission, and we're going to go and sit in the corner and go, oh, what? I can't do anything. They called me a subtard. By the way, subtard, that's retarded. That's actually retarded to say subtard. I mean, we had retard already. Retard works. Subtard. No, you don't get it, Dennis. That's more retarded. That's a retard's retard. Yeah, okay. Fucking Mr. Genius. Yeah, I'm going to shoot myself just at the thought that you're a successful billionaire who runs several companies. And what's wrong with me that I can't outdo this idiot? That's what that makes me think.
Bad as the people you bought the website from, if this continues to be the case.
I mean, Elon, sometimes you're like this guy that used to come on these late night commercials, these get rich quick scheme commercials, right? And there was this Asian guy who would do these commercials. He's just this typical Asian guy with this really thick, awful accent. Who knows where he was from? And he's on his boat. He's on his, his speedboat with models in bikinis, and he's yelling at you, saying, "What's wrong with you? What kind of idiot, lazy fuck are you that you're not rich like me? Look at the money I have." And he's selling this his snake oil get rich quick scheme, and the whole shtick was, look at me, I'm a virtual, I can't even speak the language, and I'm wealthy. What's wrong with you? That's what I feel sometimes when I listen to you talk, Elon.
Are you able to listen to valid criticism? It's not from Russian bots. It's not a coordinated attack on you. It's tens of thousands of people pissed off because they think you betrayed them. I hope to God you're a leader. The rest of you can keep watching this right now. Check it out. asmongold.com/ what's the guy's name? Moist Critical. That's the website. asmongold.com/
I don't know what
Moist
the
Critical.
fuck you're talking about.
You can
Shut
now,
up.
if you're not Elon, you can jump over to the regular video and start watching. What I actually believe, I think that the U.S. economy is grinding to a halt, and that the tech bros and investors, it's like someone tweeted about this, the bubble in the Japanese economy, where Japan was faced with the decision to either start importing people or get ready for a long winter. I saw that tweet and that immediately rang true. I think that these investor bros are counting on AI to offset the loss in productivity of this dying empire. It's slowly being realized that AI is, for all intents and purposes, a glorified spell checker. I use AI all the time. I'm a pro subscriber to ChatGPT and Perplexity.ai. I have Perplexity AI as my default search engine, and it's about as good as searching forum posts was 20 years ago. It's not some revolutionary thing. It's extra dimensional autocomplete. The words have weighting and tone and various other dimensions that are vectors, and what you get at the end of it is an article that can almost fool a computer into thinking it was written by a human. I think there's a game of musical chairs going on with money, and people are desperate for a way to keep that game of musical chairs going,
that's
even
good.
if it means
That's probably
fucking
true.
us over. The idea that these tech guys want to bring in exceptional people is just not true. They're looking to hire basically slaves who can't leave their company without leaving the country.
They're desperate. They're desperate. They see the writing on the wall and they think, I mean, basically we stripped out our economy. We don't build things. We don't do things. The only thing we have left, supposedly, is our innovative capacity, our tendency to innovate, right? And maybe these tech bros think, we're just, the next big new thing away from, saving ourselves, or extending our lifespan, right? Before it all falls apart, before this, this economy that, with this debauched currency and its, sort of unfounded economy that's out here in thin air, right? And they think that, okay, maybe AI is it. Maybe AI is, the next, internet, the next smartphone, the next whatever, And maybe AI, not only maybe it's that AI isn't even, that sinister potential that people talk about. Maybe AI is just a damn squib. It's going to be nothing. I know I haven't been impressed by it, and he said it was a glorified search engine. It sounds like that. It sounds to me like, it's like having Wikipedia at, a better version of Wikipedia where I can look up any subject and get a good, sort of get a good definition of things, right? A glorified search engine.
Who will work for 50%. That's the other thing. They keep saying they'll work 80 hours a week, which is bullshit. Nobody works 80 hours a week. They work 20 hours a week of actual work, and the rest of the time is spent fucking around on the phone and showing the boss that they're working 80 hours.
Yes, thank you. I've been saying this. Nobody believes me. Nobody actually, think about it. There's no time left over. So what does that look like? Unless you're somebody that has a business who's living in the store, whatever the store is, and it's not that you're working, slaving away all that time, and then you just fall over and sleep 8 hours and pop back up. No, it's that you're on call essentially for all the time.
a week sitting in the office. They're not actually working 80 hours a week. And furthermore, why should anybody have to work 80 hours a week? Why is this a race to create slaves?
Yeah, and why are they acting like that's so wonderful? Yeah, like it should be the norm? No, I mean, it's the idea of people working all day long, it's not like you do that in perpetuity. You do that, the old story was that an entrepreneur, a business owner, somebody starting something does it for a year or two to get the ball rolling, and then he pulls back, and maybe he works a ton still, but he becomes a human again.
Why is that a good thing? Why is that a humane thing? Why is that good for humanity? How is it possible, if you're a Democrat or a Republican, if you're left or right, why is it a good thing to want slaves? They'll work 100 hours a week. They'll work in their sleep. They'll work 200 hours a week. They'll work infinity. They'll have no lives. That's not a good thing. If you want more hours out of somebody, you have to pay them more. It's just money. They'll do it for 20,000. That's what they're saying. They're pretending like they're complimenting their diligence and their work ethic. What they're really saying is we can hire them for cheaper. That's what that means. 80 hours a week or pay them 100,000 more a year. It's the same thing. They're just saying you can pay these people.
Yeah, I mean, where's the shaming aspect of it? Where is somebody's going to step up, some other person of note is going to step up and smack down Vivek and say, why do you think it's okay for you to have people working 80 hours a week? For Elon, why do you think that's okay? I mean, maybe we'll allow it, but you should be ashamed of yourself that you're saying, oh, I deserve to have, just masses of people who have no lives other than they work for me, I'm my own little China, or this image of China we have. This is probably not even accurate, but right? Work them till they literally drop.
150,000 instead of 400,000, or 80,000 instead of 250,000. It's just money. Any system that gets set up is going to be gamed. This one is gamed by Indians who are master gamers. Pull up the Cognizant article. This is a company that was found guilty of setting a pattern and practice of discrimination against non-South Asian and non-Indian workers. That's not the intention of the program. The intention of the program is to create a meritocracy. But like Thomas Sowell said, you have to judge things on their outcomes, not their intentions. You could make a law called the everybody good, free money, everything good law, but if the end result is that quality of life goes to shit, that's what you have to judge it on. And so this H-1B stuff, you can't judge it on the floral, high-minded, beautiful, humanistic language that's used to sell it. That's just propaganda.
Yeah.
You have to judge it on the end result. Here's another one. Hire workers at a fraction of the cost of American workers. Force them to work longer hours because they won't leave their job, because if they quit, they're gone from America. This is not helped by a government oversight committee or anything like that. It's just the case that when you set up a system that can be gamed, it gets gamed. That's how people work. They're looking for the path of least resistance. They're looking to maximize their benefit from the system. That's just human nature. Massive payouts over claims they discriminated against American workers in favor of foreign workers. Apple paid $25 million to the DEA, which is like $25 to a regular person. Apple engaged in a pattern of citizenship status discrimination in recruitment positions. The claim that we can't find talented people here is nonsense. It's dishonest. The claim should be that we can't afford to pay talented people enough, or we don't want to. Sorry for getting overly serious here with you. At the end of the day, I think you should buy Bitcoin. There's this tendency to want powerful people or people in a leadership position. You get emotional when their every worldview doesn't line up with yours. Trump's not based enough, or Joe Rogan's too whatever. But these are the men who define our times, and I think it's important you allow them to be flawed people to some extent, but also to push back when they go nuts. But in this case, I think that, it's critically important. It's moist critically important. It's moist critical. This is the whole thing that Moist Critical says every time we talk to him. He put it all on the line to become the free speech guy and to turn Twitter into the global discussion space of the world. And you don't accidentally become adored by people. He can't just say, oh, I was just building a business and then I was saying stuff online and then I guess people looked up to me. No. There are plenty of quiet billionaires. There are plenty of quiet money makers, inventors. There are plenty of quiet engineers. There are plenty of people who aren't going to the Met Gala in the Satan costume.
Yeah.
Okay? There are plenty of people like that.
No. Elon Musk took, he took his notoriety, his well-earned status, and he said, I'm going to transfer this now. I want to be a leader, right? And because he has the money and the notoriety, okay, he's able to do it. Nothing wrong with that. But once you've done it, okay, you have this whole new set of responsibilities, right? You jumped on this train. You got in it late. You got away with doing that because, you bought Twitter. It's your contributions are invaluable. Nonetheless, you can't just change the nature of it, and throw a fucking tantrum when people are like, whoa, wait a minute, we didn't sign on for this. And we as a whole, this army of us out here are more important than him, right? He thinks I've got money than all you pricks put together, right? So I should have a greater say. Well, no, that would be crazy. That's like letting the biggest, strongest guy be king because he's the biggest, strongest guy. Forget that he's an idiot. We don't let the richest, most successful guy be king because of that, because he could be a sociopathic prick. In fact, he probably is.
You don't accidentally become the hope of a nation. You don't accidentally become the hope of a generation. You don't. So if he wants that, I think he can have it. And I think he deserves a shot at course correction. He's been under attack by everybody for his whole entire career. So I think he deserves that shot. If he fumbles this, then that's his legacy. I don't have any sort of committed opinion as to what's going to happen from here. I'm mostly concerned with Asmongold, as we said.
I don't know what the fuck that is. Would you stop referencing that
Tall
shit?
Guy, what was that game we played?
Oh, it's Game?
Tall Man Run, that's what I'll be doing tonight. A little bit of Raid Shadow Legends. Is that the game? Last War Survivor. Big into that these days. I'm mostly doing that. Elon's number one ranked Diablo 4. Huge achievement. I'm number one ranked Raid Shadow Legends. Raid what? Last Survivor? I'm number one
this shit has to
on
stop.
that Last Survivor. Check me out on the boards there, guys. All right?
Games.
Boom. Peace.
No. All right. That was pretty good. That was actually pretty good. Sam Hyde, you actually stayed coherent for 46 minutes, 15 seconds. That was actually kind of awesome. I want to show you something else here. You've probably already seen it. Here's another billionaire, a guy who became a billionaire with some useless multi-level marketing bullshit, Patrick Bet-David, who, when I first saw our Patrick Bet-David show, I thought, oh, he seems like such a cool guy. I mean, there's something about him, his attitude and everything else. You'd like him, at least at first. But he's jumped in on the Infinity Indians side of this whole debate. And he's getting really annoying. And I realize now, too, that he's one of these guys that, from my vantage point, he seemed to pop up out of nowhere, Lex Friedman-like, right? And is being pushed on me as this supposed conservative figure, right? But you just look at this. This is so funny, and and you should be offended by it. You should be offended by this level of bad taste, but it's amazing.
You got this painting that I worked on and commissioned Brent Hill. You see,
This is a painting he had commissioned. Maybe this is his concept. It's him, Patrick Bet David, with Tupac and Senna. Senna was a Brazilian race car driver. Became known because there was a very popular documentary about him called Senna. The Shah of Iran, and it's funny too, Patrick is giving prominence to Tupac and the race car driver, and he's got sitting on the end of the sofa is Einstein with JFK talking to Abraham Lincoln and the Shah, and over here is Friedman, whatever, the economist. What the hell is Friedman's first name? But Milton Friedman and MLK. I mean, is there a better marker to show that you are just a dummy, just a stupid and thoroughly conventional person, than to include MLK among your brain trust? Like he's, oh, he was a brilliant guy. But of course, notably, I guess this is the idea Patrick has, is that here's the uber capitalist with the commie race guy. And they're debating. Let's let Patrick show you.
See me in here in the blue. Then we have Senna, Ayrton Senna. Then there's Tupac, the Shah of Iran, Lincoln, Kennedy, Einstein. A bunch of different hidden messages in there. MLK, empty chair.
There's one message here. It's not a very good one.
And they're debating two books, Atlas Shrugged.
And the communist, and they're yet another marker of being, a smaller intellect is to be, enamored of Atlas Shrugged. I read it, and I went for about 3 weeks where I was like I was like a convert after reading Atlas Shrugged. I really thought it was a great book, and I was converted to libertarianism for about 3 weeks, and then it wore off. And I'm still a little embarrassed to say that now.
And Communist Manifesto. This is my thinking room. If I want to think, I come here, I close up, and I start thinking.
Yeah. I close up and I start thinking. This is insane, right? That he's doing this, and it's not a put on, it's not a joke. Here, look at that earnest face. Here he is, right? And let me show you my bas relief here of I guess it's Einstein again.
Piece was made by Bill Mack. It is called The Thinker. And then here you got this painting that I worked on and commissioned Brent Hill. You see me in here in the blue. Then we have Senna, Ayrton Senna. Then there's Tupac, the Shah of Iran, Lincoln, Kennedy, Einstein. A bunch of different hidden messages in there. MLK, empty chair.
Yeah, so it's just, if you've seen Boogie Nights, there's a funny scene in Boogie Nights where Dirk Diggler, the young porn star, he's got some money all of a sudden, and it's played by Mark Wahlberg. The only time Mark Wahlberg's ever been good in a movie was playing this character, because the whole idea is the character is just a naif. He just doesn't know shit. He's just a babe in the woods, innocent fuck with no taste, or you know what I mean. Mark Wahlberg is just perfectly suited to play this guy, and he's showing off his house, right? To some other girl, a porn star, right? And he's showing off his house, and it's just super tacky. It's just, like some guy from, where's he from? He's from Torrance, California. He's like me. He's from, a suburban LA, and the poor bastard is just, no taste has been inculcated in this guy at all. So everything in his house is just, a naif's idea of what's, impressive, That's what this reminds me of. Okay. You guys don't have anything to say, so I'm going to bail, because I really rely on your commentary. If you're just going to sit there mute, two can play that game. I'm not going to say a word. I'm going to say silent treatment it is. No, fuck that. I'm going to check out, though. Was going to do a whole roundup and try to go over the months of the year and talk about at least the one big event of each month, right? But, I'm too tired and I'm no good at doing that anyway. I'll just tell you this. Go here to my DennisDale.com. Yeah, DennisDale.com, still there. And read my latest, my last post of the year. And I think it's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one. It's about Barack Obama and Donald Trump, a little bit here about Musk and all this other shit out there to think about. Post this in your thinking room and then close up and think. Have a good think, because there's nothing I like better than a good think. Right? I know you agree. All right. Now, let me just find what I had. I had a traditional number. An appropriate number. There it is. All right. Happy New Year, and we will see you next year.
For